I built this workbench out of materials that I reclaimed from a prior workbench that was in the house when we bought it. So I've got these 2x3s that I ripped out of 2x6s, repurposed one of the 2x4s from the prior workbench, and then also repurposed the plywood tops. I didn't really repurpose them because I'm using them for the same purpose as before. I actually used the full 2x6 instead of cutting them down to 2x3s. I've got the vertical supports coming up and being under the work surface, so any force going down is going straight into that board instead of just relying on the screws. So they are screwed in, but they're also notched in, so they've got better support that way. So then I got some plywood, threw some plywood on top here, put the magnet strips on the bottom, which I really like just because it makes all of those tools so accessible, and then built all these French cleat holders up above. Pelado, for those of you that don't know, in Spanish it means bald, and it was a nickname that I got in Argentina many years ago. Even as a 19, 20-year-old, I was, let's say, follically challenged. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share and all that good stuff. I do have a few different French cleat organizers here. One of the first ones I did was with this one for the sandpaper. Got a bunch of pretty easy ones with basically just dowels sticking out like this. That's just a nail up there holding those saws in. Drill and impact driver. Got the one over here for the squares. I actually have a video about making that one. My wife told me I needed something to hold my pencils and pens. I built that, and it's not great. You can see how the edges and corners are not that great. That was one of the first little boxes that I made using my table saw. What I found is that the table saw, the fence had a gouge in it. I wasn't really able to get very clean lines on it because of that gouge. So I ended up putting an auxiliary fence on the table saw. I actually got a video about putting on that auxiliary fence if you're interested in how I did that. I made these boxes a little bit later, a little bit better shape, whatever. So I got one to hold brushes, another for epoxies and super glues there. I really liked this holder. This is for my trim router. A little holder for the collet reducer, and little holders for the vacuum the vacuum port that flips on there. And then on the side, I've got little magnets that I epoxied in. That way I don't lose the wrench. French cleat holder for the Forstner bits and step drill bits. Holding hammers and mallets, again, pretty easy with the dowels there. My little charging station over here. And then I've also got my little glove dispenser here. Put in a little spot for the stereo receiver to go. And then up above, I've got some speakers up there. I put in this shelving up here. I've got a bunch of 12-foot boards stored. I got those from a guy that was getting rid of a deck. Down here, I've got the router table, but I'm actually in the process of making my own. The design from Stumpy Nubs, that's in process. Just like a lot of other things in my shop. I could use this and repurpose this cabinet and turn it into my router table station with the home-built router table. So this is the table saw I mentioned, and built a little stand for it. And the shop vac is connected to, well, the shop vac is usually connected to the cyclone separator, and cyclone separator to the dust port. But I've been trying to make some improvements on that, so it's actually not connected to those right now. I made this table saw sled somewhat recently, and just made it out of plywood that I reclaimed from some shipping containers. Ruler here. I've got a little stop block that I made right here, also using that micro jig system. Speaking of the miter saw, got that right over here. This is one of the few tools that I bought new. I built this miter saw stand a long time ago. This was one of the first things I built, and it kind of shows right next to the miter saw is the bandsaw. Just the Craftsman 12-inch bandsaw slash sander. I've never used it as a sander, but I can. I recently switched out the wheels, so I put these guys on that are the same kind of wheels that I have on the table saw cart. They have brakes on them so I can secure it in place. A fence that I made, it's not, the greatest fence, but it kind of slides back and forth and hugs the edges there. You might think that the holes here are kind of odd, and they are. So basically I made a little circle jig using a larger piece of plywood. I didn't do this as well as I would like, and so I ended up just starting over and making a new jig, and that is over here. We talked about the workbench, we talked about the bandsaw and the miter saw. We haven't talked about my little vacuum shop vac / cyclone separator setup. I've actually got a video about this. I built this plywood storage cart. I decided to go 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide. And so I just built this primarily out of materials that I salvaged. So then I've just got a bunch of the plywood and OSB and whatever else hanging out on this side. My circular saw guide, and I've got a separate video about those as well. I have just kind of this eclectic collection of different stuff, some of which is stuff that I got from the shipping containers. Some of it is stuff that I got from my brother. I was intending to make little partitions here in the inside of this little railing, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. I've got other scrap material just in some boxes over here. So this is, some smaller stuff. What else do you want to see about the shop? I got my planer, picked that up from a guy used, jointer from the same guy, and the dust extractor from the same guy. Still haven't hooked this guy up because I don't have the hoses for it. One of these days I'll track those down. And I've got my scroll saw there, the air compressor. Actually bought that one new from Harbor Freight. And then I've just got various things stored down here, various other tools, some other of the Makita line there, reciprocating saw, circular saw, multi-tool, and then just various other things stored under there. My drill press over here, and then my little router collection down here. This router I was intending to use on the router table that I'm making. This one I'm intending to use for flattened slabs. And then this one, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it. This guy I got from the same guy that I bought those, the planer and jointer and dust extractor from. And he also got most of what's in this bin from that guy, as well as a bunch of the clamps that are up here, these Bessie clamps and these C clamps. And we will see you on the next video.